I read the translation, and perhaps maybe we can ask you to read the purport. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka. The first demon, who was the first demon? Without looking on your phone? The very first demon, yes. Hiranyaksha. And what is the first incarnation in the universe? Yeah, that's the one we are talking about. Hiranyaksha is the first demon who challenged this boar. He thought it was an animal. People, they're very coward. They go in the forest and they face boar, deer with bow and arrow or with the guns. My father, he would always say, those who carry weapon are cowards. But this demon, he saw this boar, this we can call it like a pig, and he didn't feel threatened, and he wanted to challenge him. Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. Beautiful. Of course, he didn't kill him. So, we'll have the purport, because I didn't have glasses with me, and it's all blur, and I don't want to read one word for the other. So we'll have Sankirtan Priya Prabhu to read the purport. Oh, you got a microphone.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai Prabhupada.
Since the beginning of creation, the demons and the demigods, or the Vaishnavas, are always the two classes of living beings to dominate the planets of the universes. Lord Brahma is the first demigod, and Hiranyaksha is the first demon in this universe. Only under the certain conditions do the planets float as weightless balls in the air. And as soon as these conditions are disturbed, the planets may fall down in the Garbhodaka ocean, which covers half the universe. The other half is the spherical dome within which the innumerable planetary systems exist. The floating of the planets in the weightlessness air is due to the inner constitution of the globes and the modernized drilling of the earth to exploit oil, from which within is a sort of disturbance by the modern demons and can result in a greatly harmful reaction to the floating condition of the earth. A similar disturbance was created formerly by the demons headed by Hiranyaksha, the great exploiter of the gold rush. And the earth was detached from its weightless condition and fell down into the Garbhodaka ocean. The Lord, as maintainer of the whole creation of the material world, therefore assumed the gigantic form of a boar with a proportionate snout and picked up the earth from within the water of the Garbhodaka. Sri Jayadev Goswami, the great Vaishnava poet, sang as follows: Vasati dasana sikhare dharani tavan lagna sasina kalanka kaleva nimagna keshavadrita sukara rupa jai jagadisha hare. O Keshava, O Supreme Lord, who have assumed the form of a boar, O Lord, the planet Earth rested on your tusks, and it appeared like the moon engraved with spots. Such is the symptoms of an incarnation of the Lord. The incarnation of the Lord is not the concocted idea of fanciful men who create an incarnation out of imagination. The incarnation of the Lord appears under the certain extraordinary circumstances like the above mentioned occasion, And the incarnation performs a task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. The modern creators of many cheap incarnations may take note of the factual incarnation of God as the gigantic boar with a suitable snout to carry the planet Earth. When the Lord appeared to pick up the earth, the demon of the name Hiranyaksha tried to create a disturbance in the methodical functions of the Lord, and therefore he was killed by being pierced by the Lord's tusk. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the demon Hiranyaksha was killed by the hand of the Lord. Therefore, his version is that after being killed by the hand of the Lord, the demon was pierced by the tusk. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms this version.
Thank you very much. Magyana timirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurmalitam jena tasmai sri gurave namah Sri Chaitanya manobhistam stapitam jena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati svapadandikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangalam Gayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. By the mercy of the spiritual master, a lame man can cross mountains. By his mercy, a blind man can see stars in the sky. And by his mercy, a dumb man like me can speak few words on the Srimad Bhagavatam today. I offer my humble obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Tamala Krishna Goswamini Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Bhaskara Desattarine. Panchakalpadruvyascha Kripasindu Vyaivacha Vaditanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. So we read again the translation. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned into the great ocean of the universe, called the Garbhodaka, the first demon, Hiranyaksha, appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. This is the very first incarnation of Lord Krishna coming into to this world to save Mother Earth. That later on, the Earth, with a personality, Bhumi, married she became the consort of Lord Varahadev. Aham bija pradapita. Just like Bhumi, it's our mother, it's one of the 7 mothers. So Lord Krishna, or Varahadev, it's our father. Out of his fatherly affection, Aham bija pradapita. He's the seed-giving father of all the living entities. And therefore, out of his concern for his children and for his wife, he came to rescue the earth from the orbit, from the ocean, Garbhodakashaya ocean. And he was the very first incarnation. Does anybody know where he came from? Where he came out? From where? From Lord Brahma's nostrils, correct, yeah. So it is said that he had no mother Varahadev. Just like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev. He had no mother, no father. The Pela was the womb. You can call it mom and daddy. The Lord, He can choose anyone as a parent. He chose the Pela as a parent. And so Varaha, he came out from the nostril of Lord Brahma. Can you imagine? Very tiny, little, sometimes we blow our nose. And, we can catch, whatever is rejected by the body into an handkerchief. So just by breathing, Lord Brahma, he discharged this creature, a little creature, and then he expanded into a big, huge boar, which is the form of a hog, a pig. And Hiranyaksha, being very, like Prabhupada said, from time immemorial, there are these two creatures, living entities, with different feelings. Bhakti Bhava or Asurik Bhava. Those who are of a demoniac nature, they're Asura, Asurik Bhava. And for a long time they nourish that feeling of being demoniac, adverse to the devotees, adverse to all those who love, and adverse to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhakti Bhava are the demigods, those with divine quality, and they are always on the side of Krishna. The demigods, they're always protected by the Lord in any situations. Even if they fall down in sensitive gratification, occasionally, actually very often, in the heavenly planets, there is a lot of sense gratification. But that is not an offense. It's not a disqualification. The offense is what Hiranyaksha did. To harass Mother Bhumi. When you give a pain to another living entity, that is a demoniac. The demigods, they don't give pain to anyone. Actually, they maintain all of us. They maintain your sense gratification, your appetite, your vision, your breathing. Believe it or not, there is 33 million demigods. And they are all there for your welfare, for our welfare. But they also have senses, and they also fall down in sense gratification. Indra also, he's been naughty. But that is excused. Sense gratification, it's not, it's like when you embark on a road full of bumps. I put it on Facebook. It's one of my realizations. I was trying to think, what is the difference between sense gratification and offenses? Sense gratification, when you fall down, you just get up. You are on walking, you see the bump. You are walking or you are cycling, you fall off, and then you get up and carry on your bumpy journey. But what is the offense? The offense is not a bump. That is the thing, we have to understand. The offense is a ditch. You fall in the ditch and it's very difficult to come out. There's a difference between a bump and a ditch. So the demigods, occasionally they fall down in the heavenly planets. And what is the reaction? What is the reaction that the demigods they pay? Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavatam in 2 sections. What is the reactions they have to face for falling down? Let's see if anybody knows. Yes, Taruna Prabhu, he hit right on the nail. They're harassed by demons. Occasionally, time to time. That is the reaction for their sex life. So even a devotees, you can embark in your spiritual life. You may not lose your Krishna consciousness when you gratify your senses or when you fall down. That is not an offense. Of course, we say it's an offense to the holy name. Sense gratification is not but it's everyone is even a great saints. Sometimes they give in to sense gratification. Great kings. Pandu, he was the father of the Pandavas. And, he got caught up in lusty desire, sense gratification. And by doing that, he died. Who's the great rishi who came out of the ocean just by seeing two fish? Subhara Muni. Two fish copulating. He came out and he fell down with the very first girl that he saw, Menaka. King Yayati. King Yayati was a great king in the dynasty of Lord Ram. He gratified his senses for 1,000 years. Not only that, he took the youth of his son, Puru, to, it's like me, I'm 60 years old, almost, 59. But if I had the magic of carrying on my sense gratification, I could ask my son, can you give me your youth, 30 years? Then I become 30 years young. And gratify my senses. That's what King Yayatu did. He was saintly king. But for 1,000 years, he was gratifying his senses. Sex life, all 1,000 years, but was always thinking of Krishna. And he went back home, back to Godhead. This is the proof that sense gratification, it's not the ditch. I'm not trying to advocate sense gratification today, that you can indulge in as much as you want, but I'm just highlighting the difference between the two. And of course, King Yayati before he went back home, he gave the youth back to his son, Puru, one of his many children, because he was selfless, pure devotee. And then from the Puru dynasty, went down all the way, and then Lord Ramachandra was born. Appeared in that dynasty because he was actually impressed by the consciousness of this boy, Puru. So, going back to the verse, I didn't prepare anything, by the way, because I was asked on the spot to give a class, but Hiranyaksha, being a demon, demons, they have a tendency to fall in the ditch again and again and again, to be offensive, to harass, to give pain to other living entities. And here he's taking Mother Earth and throwing her in the Garbhodaka ocean. And all the living entities, they were suffocating. So the Lord, he had to appear. Yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. We just celebrated Janmashtami. When the Lord sees his devotees being harassed, then he will appear. If someone is harassing you in your life, just be patient. The Lord will appear to rescue you. He's done with me many, many times. It doesn't mean that he comes in the form of Nishingadev or the boar, or he gives you satisfaction to see to see your enemy being crushed by him. No, it's not like that. But somehow or another, you don't have to worry. Whoever is giving you a hard time, that person will suffer. Whether he's a demon or he's a devotee, so-called devotee. Have a faith in that. It will suffer. As I said, even a devotee is even worse because they should know better. If they engage in offenses, they will lose everything. The health, intelligence, the opulence, the strength. It is all there in the Bhagavatam. So it's not worth for a little bit of offense, pride, being carried away by pride, inflicting pain to another Vaishnava, to actually not just a Vaishnava, to anyone. It's not worth. The reaction is great. I find, that book distribution is very protective. Isn't it, Bhakta Rupin Prabhu? Very protective, to commit offenses. Isn't that Smarhari Prabhu? You cannot commit offense. You are in good consciousness because you have beautiful, loving relationship with all the devotees here, but then you go out and you show some affection and some love, to those who are inimical towards Krishna. So that is a high degree of compassion. There is one thing is when you tolerate, the mischiefs of all the materialistic people. And another thing is when you go and help them. Tolerating and helping is something different, isn't it? You can tolerate, but still you have an opinion. Respectful distance, we say. You don't want to have anything to do with them. But Prabhupada, he wanted to have the whole world, everything to do with them. He came out of Vrindavan in the midst of all these inimical people, Sunyavadi, Brahmacharini, and to be favorable to them, to cast out mercy, to teach them compassion and love. So Hiranyaksha was like that. The Lord, He not just came to rescue the planet Earth, but also to purify this great demon. Because at the end of the day, who is Hiranyaksha? Who is Hiranyaksha originally? Jai and Vijay, yeah, one of the two. I don't know which one of the two is, but it's the older brother. Is the older brother of Hiranyakashipu or the younger one? If he's the older brother, then it's Jai. If he's the younger brother, it's Vijay. Very simple. And it's interesting, in the 9th canto, there is an exchange, or maybe there is a little bit here as well, of fighting between Hiranyaksha and the Lord, which really struck me. When Hiranyaksha saw the Lord in the form of this pig hog, he swore at him. You dirty pig, something like that. He was swearing at him, and the Lord, he was feeling in ecstasy, very happy. Does anybody know why? Yes, Prabhu. Yes, I have to give it to you. You have studied, that pastime. Prabhupada, he elaborated twice. Even if you're a demon, but if you're a demon, he treats the Lord as a person. How do you feel when you have an argument with someone who hates you, and it comes to you and have an argument with you, then afterwards everything is okay. Or that person walks away and he doesn't talk to you for 10 years or 20 years. Which one of the two behavior is better? Jaya Shishirada Gokulananda Ki Jai. You see, the impersonalism, it's worse than being a demon. They're actually worse than demon. It's a ditch very, very profound. Committing offense is one thing, but to ignore someone, to cut off the existence of someone, or even the existence of the Lord, is the most heinous offense that you can commit. To pretend the Lord doesn't exist. You cut off His identity, His personality. So, yeah, well said. I'm impressed. And the Lord, when He received the blow on His face, on His chest, He was in ecstasy. Said, look at that, my devotee is treating me as a person, even though he's calling me dirty names, swearing at him, and physically offending him. But then what happened that Saraswati, the goddess of learning, what did she do? Anybody? What did she do with the swearing? Yes. Those swearing words, they became glorification. She turned all of them into a glorification to the Lord. And the Lord felt in ecstasy. Because nobody can offend Krishna. Nobody can be, can say bad words or swearing words. Of course you can, but everything will be entering through a filter. Somehow or another. You can't touch the Lord. You cannot offend the Lord. It's just like a little child when he's trying to kick the father or mother. You can never hurt your parents as a child. And then the blow of Hiranyaksha, the goddess of learning, she transformed them as garlands. When this morning I was asked to offer a garland to Prabhupada, and I said, pass it on to Yadubar Prabhu to offer garland to Prabhupada. A garland, when you put a garland on someone's chest, is very pleasant, isn't it? Someone came and put garland on me because I'm giving class today. But actually, and it's fragrant, it's soft. So the blows of Hiranyaksha on the chest of the Lord, they were just like when you throw the garland, flowers on the chest of the other person. This is all there in the Bhagavatam. So somehow or another, Hiranyaksha got purified. Of course, this sporting pastime was for the pleasure of the Lord. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, they came because was the desire of Krishna, Vishnu, Narayan, to come and fight. The Lord, it says in the Bhagavatam, He will never fight or joke with mortal people, commoners, materialistic people. Those are the real demons that Prabhupada is talking about in the purport. Not this personality. These personalities here, they're just playing. When you go on the stage and you play the part of a demon. Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, we have to be very careful to never offend them. Because the original state, as says here in the translation, it's Adi, originally they're servants, loving servants of the Lord. And nobody can fight with the Lord better than anybody else. Better than them. They are very expert. Pure devotee of the Lord are chosen by the Lord to be in His pastimes. Like Arjuna. Krishna tells the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna not to purify him, but it's for us. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of the mother-in-law. When the daughter-in-law is a bit naughty or disobedient or something, that's what the mother-in-law does. She chastises her own daughter. Why? Because the daughter is closer. It's more dear. It is a fact. I don't want to offend any son-in-law, daughter-in-law. They are dear to the mother-in-law, but the son and the daughter, nobody can take their places. So, the mother chastises her own daughter, Prabhupada says, because she can take the chastisement, not to the daughter-in-law. There is her own reverence there, and it will disturb her and end up hating her more. So Krishna does like that. When He wants to teach us lessons, we are all daughter-in-law of Krishna. What He does, He chastises His own devotees, His own daughter, like Arjuna, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Jarasandha. These are all Putana. These are all personalities. They came in His pastimes to give a pleasure to Krishna and to help Him to teach us a lesson. Not to teach them, but to teach us what to do and what not to do. Because we are very distant. We're not yet dear to Krishna as they are. Otherwise you will be chosen, or me, us, as a Hiranyaksha to fight with the Lord. Can you imagine? If the Lord wants me to do that, of course I will do it. It's a privilege. I would become a demon to give pleasure to the Lord. Some devotee, if you ask a neophyte devotee, would you be a demon and harass Krishna? He would say no. If it's for the pleasure of Krishna, what you would say? Yes or no? Yes. Why not? Anything that gives pleasure to Krishna, we embrace it. Of course, Srila Rupa Goswami, he always advised in his Upadekshamrita that devotional service should be done in a favorable way, not in an inimical way. Now, it doesn't mean, that you go away from this class thinking, oh, I can be a demoniac and I can do anything I want. It may give a pleasure to Krishna. That is a concoction, speculation. We have to learn the ABC of spiritual life. Let's become a daughter of Krishna first. At the moment we are daughter-in-law. Let's become dear to Krishna. And then we do whatever He wants us to do. Tamara Krishna Maharaj once, someone asked the question, very interesting. What happened to those devotees who are always harassing other devotees, giving trouble in ISKCON? And they're senior devotees. And those who harass or offend, who have a tendency to give a hard time to other devotees. What is their destiny? Because they are also, initiating to the parampara. They are devotees. You know what he said? He said, well, before we go back home, back to Godhead, we have to take birth for one last time into the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Now, you have understood already what that means. There's going to be battles. It's going to be wars. And maybe those devotees who have given hard time to other devotees, they will take birth as demons. And they'll be killed either by devotees or by Krishna. And then they achieve the freedom. And that is a good thing, rather than taking birth again in this material world, again and again and again, in the cycle of samsara. I would prefer more a shortcut like that than taking birth again and waiting another millions of lives. Of course, I'm not saying that, go ahead and behave like a demon, start harassing devotees. I take a birth in the pastimes of Krishna anyway, and I'll be a kshatriya, I'll be liberated at the end. No, don't think like that, because there will be a lot of pain. It's not worth. So as a devotees, we are recommended to always be in a favorable mood towards Krishna and towards other devotees. A sadhu, he can also harbor asuric bhava in his heart. It doesn't mean that he is someone who is dressed as a saffron or dhoti, kurta, sari. Doesn't mean necessarily that he's got love, he or she. They have love in their heart. The dress is not what you feel. It's just covering you, but it's not what you feel. What you feel, that's what you are. We tend to see the world the way we feel, usually. If you feel demoniac, then everything is ugly. Everyone is an enemy. But, there is a Sanskrit say that Vishvambhara sukhayate. Does anybody know what that means? Taruna maybe knows. Vishvam, universe, Purna, full, Sukhayate, joy. If you put together the words in Sanskrit, you can summarize, the meaning of it. What does that mean? For a person who is in sukha, love, for a person who is always blissful, the whole world is full of bliss. It doesn't mean you have to be in the temple to be blissful, or in the Janmashtami festival. You can be at home praying to Krishna, or doing some book distribution, somewhere. I spent Janmashtami distributing books. It was very beautiful, nectary. I felt that I was actually in the festival. Giving people to Krishna, it's the greatest festival. When you help someone, it's the greatest festival for the consciousness. That's when Krishna becomes manifest. It's all about consciousness. I only went out for 2 hours because I did a half-day fast and I was not feeling too good, but it was blissful. I felt, of course, it was difficult to come to the temple because of queue, crowds. I personally don't like crowds myself. It doesn't mean I don't like devotees. I love. If I see them, on TV, that's nice because I've got my own comfort zone. I don't have to queue up anywhere. I don't have to, and I can enjoy, the festival. I've seen Kumbh Mela. It's very nice when you see crowds on TV, festivals. But to be in it, personally, it's a little bit. I used to like when I was young, but now it's a bit difficult. So, that is the celebration of Janmashtami that we just had. Vishvambhara Sukhayate. For a person who is full of bliss, then everyone is a friend. When you go out and preach, you don't see enemies because you go with the mood of helping. If you are helping someone, how can you be an enemy? You are an enemy if you neglect that person. Let him rot in hell. In my offering to Prabhupada, after my age of 50, I'm starting to become a little bit more honest with myself, and I'm bringing out all the dirt. I declared in front of 1,000 people that I didn't like book distribution when I first joined. Honest, as an honest expression, revelation. I didn't like to help people. I was very selfish. I loved prasad, I loved the kirtan, I loved studying the books. But when I was thrown in the street, and it was, people, they would look at me shaved. I was the same age like Smarahari. It reminded me of me when I first joined. That's what probably, when I came here, I was probably your age. That's why Shivaram Swami told you, I want you to become like Vishvambhara. Because I was always smiling at it. I was very, I liked, the association of devotees. But I didn't like book distribution. But now, I love it because something has changed. It's a miracle of Srila Prabhupada. I've got a little bit of sympathy, compassion, a little bit of, let me put in action the reason why I joined. Did I join just to be a Sunday feast devotee? Or come here, take prasad, have a darshan, have a kirtan, and then what? Then what? What is the next thing to do? See, anything you do in Krishna consciousness, you have to always ask, then what? What's next? Do again. But then, until we understand, maybe I should pass this bliss to somebody else. That is the ultimate, correct, Bhakti Rupin? In the form of Harinam, prasad, book distribution, or even a kindness, association. So many ways we can actually benefit someone, whether that person is a devotee or a materialistic person. Anyway, it's 8:30 and we'll take one or two questions. We'll stop here. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for a nice class, Vishvambhara, and doing so impromptu as well. When you're talking about sense gratification, and you can do sense gratification, and it won't, it's not an offense. I was thinking, and I was wanting you to clarify that if we allow ourselves to do sense gratification, eventually it will lead to an offense because extreme attachment is like the kind of impetus
correct.
for offense.
You are correct. Yeah. Maintaining material attachment even after understanding so many instructions in this matter, it is an offense, of course, if you persevere, maintain. But if you accidentally fall down or accidentally, you gratify yourself, just get up and carry on.
So there's a difference between
There's a difference between accidental fall down and maintaining the fall down, of course. But of course the Lord is very merciful, that He's very patient. On the bumpy road, you can fall down many, many times. But that's why we have a guru. There's a very nice example, my legs hurt, that Prabhupada gives in the Bhagavatam of the cow. When it gives birth to a calf, This is perfect example that Prabhupada gives. When cows give birth to a calf, the calf is very weak, new calf. She tried to get up, but then fall down. And then by the glance of the cow, the calf get up. And then again falls down because the legs are weak. And Prabhupada said the spiritual master is like that. And the mercy of Krishna is like that. You know, we, as a new devotee, we have a weak legs in walking the path of spiritual life. So we tend to fall down. But then by the glances and mercy of the Guru and Krishna, we get up. They give us strength. So meditate on those glances. When we are into sense gratification, like sometimes it happens to me, you know, I eat a bit too much, and I feel, you know, like, oh, that was not necessary. Please forgive me, my Lord. You know, like, or you feel something that is not proper. You call upon Krishna to help you. And those are the glands. The Lord will help. And you get up.
For me as well.
For prasad, yeah, to everyone. Any one of you doesn't fall down in sense gratification, please raise your hands. I'm not going to raise my hand. There is a very minute thing, you know, the body is full of miseries and full of senses. The senses, dusparena nalina cha, says in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, we can't help it. They're always wanting something. Either you want some attention from someone, some love from someone, you want to eat, or you want sleep if you are tired. The senses, they want to be pacified. They are the children of the mind. But that's why Lord Krishna, He gives us the control, you know, moderated. You don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. You know, don't work too much, don't work too little. That's how you perform yoga. This is bhakti yoga. And then bhakti comes. The senses, they become, if you put them in Krishna service, they become purified. The same senses, they lead us to liberation. They can drag us to hell, or they can lead you to liberation. Rishikesha Rishikenam Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. If you engage your senses into the master of the sense, Rishikesh, then they become purified. With seva, sevanam bhakti ruchate. Does that make sense? Yes, Prabhu. Are you okay with time? Anyway, prasad is there, it's not flying away.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was noticing one part of the class. You were talking about what happens to seniors who give disturbance to others. They will get closer to Krishna, but may be born as a demon in the next life. And then one point came up, you know, how demons are different from devotees, and how bhakti bhav, asura bhav. And then I recall one verse. It says that like devotees or saints take pleasure by killing snakes and scorpions. It's in Prahlad Maharaj's story with Hiranyakashipu. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when Srila Prabhupada told him there was a big, you know, snake, then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ordered it to be killed. I just wanted to understand this mood of
That's very interesting. Yeah, that pastime actually was scrutinized and researched. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, when he ordered the sadhu to kill the snake, was one of his sannyasi of brahmachari, not the householder. Because in the Bhagavatam says the householder, the merciful, compassionate householder, he should be feeding everyone, even the snakes and scorpions. Now, I don't know why the brahmachari or sannyasi, they have a license to kill snakes and scorpions. That you have to ask Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. I don't know. But, yeah, both are correct. I personally, I run away from it. I wouldn't kill them. I wouldn't kill them personally as I was older. Because I see that there is Krishna there in the heart. And for me, in my own opinion, we are all entitled to opinion. Killing someone, of course, you for a brahmachari or sannyasi, I don't know if it's beneficial to kill a snake, because then it will evolve, into a next life, maybe better or something like that. But there are some devotees, they won't kill anybody, but some devotees, they do kill snakes and scorpions. So you have to ask yourself which of the two you want to belong to. But I'm not going to give any black or white to this or to that. I personally, I wouldn't. I've seen snakes many times, but I wouldn't do, because there is another purport where Prabhupada says Krishna as Avignata is so merciful. Avignata means the oldest friend. Birth after birth, he accompanies the Paramatma. The soul. As Avignata is the Paramatma. Accompanies the soul and never abandons the soul, even in the body of worms and snakes. And out of respect for Avignata, Krishna, that merciful person, I'm not even, acknowledging the soul that is demoniac, but the Lord is there. That's why Krishna consciousness means, when you see the Lord in everything. The Lord is there, so I won't harm it. Of course, if they are posing threat to another devotee or to my child, or in order to protect, you can kill. Then I would do it. It depends. Yes, principle of self-defense. Yeah. It's called one of the aggressor. If a snake comes in the house and pose aggression, then you can kill. It's not sinful to kill an aggressor. Someone who burns your house, someone who tried to kill your family, someone to, try to molest your wife or children. So there are, like Varahadev, he killed because Hiranyaksha was an aggressor. He was aggressive. So, thank you very much for your hospitality, for having me here today. And all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol.